On today's video, we are going to be taking 5 items that have seen better days, and we are going to be making them over into gorgeous, bright, garden style home decor that I think you're absolutely going to love using the new spring release from IOD. Y'all, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make over this tray. It's going to be gorgeous when it gets done. I can't wait for y'all to see the final result. So I took 2 different DIY paints and I mixed them together. The Walk on Water, that's the darker one, and then Old 57, that's a lighter one. I didn't want a color that was so dark and I didn't want a color that was so light, so I made my own. All you have to do is mix them together. Sometimes you just have to make your own perfect color. So after I gave it a good coat of paint, and then I gave it a second coat of paint. In case you haven't heard, Iron Orchid Designs has released their new spring products. There are 17 new products. There are 5 molds, 5 stamps, 3 transfers, 2 paint inlays, and 2 of the gold gilded transfers. I think that you are absolutely going to love them. If you've already seen them, I bet you are loving them. And if you haven't, you're in for a treat. So now I'm taking out one of DIY paint sealers. It's called Big Top. It's a liquid sealer. It's very easy to apply. You want to apply that after your paint has completely dried and cured, preferably overnight. DIY paint is a clay-based chalk paint and it has to be sealed, otherwise it can be reactivated with water. So now what I did is I took out this large rose transfer. This transfer is actually from one of the older transfer sets. It's called, I believe, Redoubt, maybe Redoubt. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Y'all help me out. It is a gorgeous transfer set, and it's just full of roses and flowers and perfect for this time of year. So all I'm doing is I'm applying this transfer to this piece. It applies very, very easily. If you've never used one before, all you have to do is take off that backing. It's got some stickiness on the back of it. You're going to stick it down. It comes with that little stick in each of your transfer sets, and then you're just going to rub and pull, and that transfer is easily going to transfer on top of that Big Top sealer onto DIY paint. It's very easy. Then you're just going to take that plastic part that it was attached to, and you're just going to rub it on top of that transfer so your transfer adheres. I now pulled out a set of the Petite Ornaments Gilded Transfers. This is one of the new transfers from the spring release, and I'm just randomly going to apply these on top of this tray. I am loving how the colors pop against each other. They're pretty much complementary colors, and that's why they are popping. These colors are across from each other on the color wheel, so they are popping and they look good together. So now I'm just taking these gilded transfers and I'm just rubbing and pulling, and they are applying so easily to this DIY paint. I had never used them on top of the paint before, and I'm telling y'all, they apply so easily and they are really cool. So I'm just going to apply them all over this tray in just random places. And as I'm doing this, I'm totally getting Mrs. Roper vibes. What do y'all think? It just reminds me of Mrs. Roper, something that would have been popular a long time ago. If y'all remember Three's Company, I don't know, it just screamed Miss Roper. But I like how these colors, and it looks kind of vintagey with the flowers and the frames. It's vintage and old, but it looks modern and new at the same time. So I'm just having fun. I'm just playing around, and that's all we're doing. We're just having fun, and we're using these new products. Just to clarify, I had applied some of the gold products prior on top of paint, but never on top of DIY paint. And I don't know if it's the Big Top or the DIY paint, but it is coming off so much easier when I apply it to this paint than when I had previously applied it on top of fusion paint for some reason. Okay, y'all, that butterfly just appeared. Somehow I didn't get that on camera, but I'm also using some of the transfers from the Wild Bloemen set. That set is gorgeous. It has all kinds of flowers. Looks just like my grandmother's garden. It's got flowers and butterflies and birds. So I'm just applying some butterflies and birds and flowers. Because I may sell this tray, I didn't want to put a monogram on it. However, I thought inside of some of those little frames, or inside of one of those frames, it would be fun to put one of the cursive C's from the insignia stamp. In fact, I may do that. And I'd put C because my last name starts with a C. But you could put whatever initial you would want. But I thought that would be cool too. But I'm just applying some birds and butterflies. And it just kind of has a retro vibe. And I'm just placing them on top of the frames and just random. But see, like some of those frames that are open, I think a cursive C would be really pretty in front of that. I'm taking out the big top again, and I'm going to give it another coat of the big top. Y'all see how easy that applies? It's so easy. It's not hard at all, so don't get scared of a two-step paint. It's just very easy. But I'm applying that on top of the transfers so that they are sealed in. And now y'all look at the final project. If y'all love it, give me a thumbs up. I haven't even introduced myself. My name is Emily. I'm with J. Bowen & Company, and I am so glad that you are here today. If this is the first time that you're watching one of my videos, welcome. I am so happy to have you here, and I would love for you to stick around. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. It helps my channel grow, and then you're not going to miss out on all of the upcoming videos. I have a lot of great videos in store for you this spring. I cannot wait to show you what all I have coming up. So don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming videos. The next project is this adorable bunny that I purchased for $1.50. The store is going out of business, which breaks my heart because it's one of my favorite thrift stores. But it's going out of business, so I got it for half off. So I just took off that bow, I cleaned it up, and now I'm taking out DIY Kissing Booth. This is a gorgeous fuchsia hot pink color, just perfect for this time of year. But I'm going to give it a coat of paint, because I'm actually going to make this bunny a gold bunny. And Debbie from DIY Paint, she's the owner of the paint company. She says if you put this hot pink color underneath the gold will look even golder. So I'm following her advice, and we're going to see if this really works. So after I gave it 2 coats of the DIY paint and let it fully cure, then I'm just taking out my golden ticket. This is a DIY paint that has a sealer in it, and we're just going to give it 2 coats of the golden ticket. If you're interested in purchasing any of these DIY paint products, or any of the paint products that I featured today, and any of the IOD products, or any of the other products that I feature, I will have them all located in my description so that you can purchase if you choose. So now we're just finishing up this coat of paint. We're going to give it 2 coats of paint, and then after it has 2 coats of paint on there, I am going to take out some of DIY Shipwrecked. It is a turquoise, gorgeous color wax, and we are going to put a little bit of wax on it just to give it a little bit extra look. So the cool thing about this is you're going to be able to see some of the pink underneath, just a little bit of the pink underneath. You can completely cover it if you want to, but because it's for spring, I don't mind if a little bit of the pink shows through. Like I said, you can cover it up completely, but I don't mind if it shows through. The trick to making something look good when you paint, from my opinion, is that it needs to have multiple layers. For those of you that don't know, I actually have a degree in Fine Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, a BFA from 1999 from the University of Texas at Arlington. So I do know a thing or two about painting, and so that would be my advice, to layer everything up. The more layers, the better. I'm now applying a quick coat of Shipwrecked which is DIY's turquoise color wax. At first I wiped it back with a paper towel, but it was leaving a little bit too much of that turquoise look on the bunny. I really just wanted it in the crevices, so then I took out a wet wipe and I wiped it down much more, so then it still had a nice golden color, and I think it's the perfect little gold bunny for springtime. What do y'all think about this new look on this bunny? Do you like it? If you like this look and you like this gold bunny, please give me a thumbs up. You don't want to miss the next two projects, so y'all stick around. The next project are these two vases. So I took out my mint chip paint from DIY Paint. It is a gorgeous color. It's just like mint chocolate chip ice cream, one of my favorite ice creams. It's that color. It's really pretty and it's perfect for spring. It gives you a beautiful mint color, which looks modern but also looks retro and vintage, so it's all in one. It's just a great color for spring. And y'all, if you're local, if you live in Georgia, in North Georgia, I actually have my DIY paint in one of my stores at the OCC out of the Cedar Chest in Gainesville, Georgia. You can pick up JRV papers, Rethunk Junk paint, DIY paint, and whimsical papers right there in my Gainesville store. If you're interested in Fusion Mineral Paint or my Iron Orchid Designs, I have those at Detail Link. That is in Beaufort, Georgia, right by the Mall of Georgia. You can pick up the IOD or the Fusion right there at Detail Link. And of course, I can always mail it to you anywhere in the United States. Make sure that you stick around to the last project. I'm going to be using that Wildberry mold. I think you're going to love that next project. I'm going to show you how you can paint it. And on the next video, I have two more projects coming up with a Wildberry mold. They both look totally different, but I think you're going to love how versatile that mold is and what gorgeous projects you can make with the molds. On this project, I'm showing you how you can layer up these frames with transfers. So first I put another one of those gold transfers from that petite ornament set, and then I'm using a rose transfer. These roses are from the Katharina transfer set. That set is absolutely stunning. It looks like roses from an English garden. I think you'll absolutely love that set as well. They're big and bold and beautiful, so I think you'll love those. That set is an 8x12 set with 8 sheets of 8x12, but they are gorgeous flowers, a lot of roses, but some other ones, and some beautiful birds too, just in time for spring. So after I get that transfer on there, I'm going to be putting the next frame. There you go. See that little frame? Isn't it cute? And I'm going to put it on top of this one. Now I'm doing two of these at the same time, but y'all get the picture. I'm kind of want to go fast through these because y'all already know how to put on these gold little transfers. I've already showed you how to do that, but what I'm showing you is how you can just layer them with one gold frame is behind, then a flower on top, and then another gold frame. I also think this one would be really nice with that insignia stamp too, because you could put in an initial, and I think that would be really sweet as well. I'm wanting these to look vintage and retro, but also new and modern at the same time. And so I'm just laying this up. They just look like a lot like that look that you see of the granny chic grandma core look. I think that's what it's called. So I'm doing this gold technique. Y'all already know it. Y'all saw it on the bunny just a second ago. I already painted that kissing booth. I decided to put it along the inside rim and the outside rim. I put that pink, the kissing booth pink, with the golden ticket on top to make that gold pop. Off camera, I'm going to wipe a little bit of that residue from the chalk paint off of those handles because it's still on there. I didn't put sealer on them, so I'm going to be able to wipe it right off because it's just chalk paint, so it wipes off really easy with water. So that's the good thing about DIY paint is it comes right off, so you can use a baby wipe to get it right off your hands. But if you're painting with another kind of paint, like Fusion Mineral Paint that has a sealer, it's not going to come off easy if it's dried at all. Like DIY paint will come off really easy. And now for the final reveal. If you like these vases, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Let me know which one of these projects is your favorite. If you've watched this far in the video, please leave me a flower emoji so I know. And thank y'all so much for being here with me. Okay, y'all, here is the next project. I am calling this the berry bucket.
Look at that one. I don't count. That's weird. I don't count. Look at that one.
That was us a couple years ago picking berries out of our garden. We pick them every year. This is a galvanized bucket with a little bit of gold accent on it, which I thought was unusual. And so now I am taking out the Wildberries mold, and I'm going to tell y'all something funny. I did not realize that it was a mixture of blackberries and strawberries until I started doing these projects. I actually thought that this project was going to be strawberries on this pot until I started painting and looking at them. I thought, those aren't strawberries. I believe those are blackberries. Anyway, maybe I just need to get my vision checked. So that mold actually has strawberries and blackberries. It has two larger sections. This is one of the larger sections, one with blackberries, one with strawberries, and then it's got some miscellaneous ones around the top. So the night before, I had used some clear resin and I poured it in there. It usually takes about 24 hours to completely dry. So when I took it out the next morning, it was still pliable. So I was able to wrap it around this bucket, which was nice. Because if you leave it too long, it will just be completely flat and you'd only be able to apply it on a flat surface. So I took out my Titebond Quick and Thick glue and I glued it down, and then off camera I went ahead and I painted it with a coat of the old 57 DIY paint, and then I sealed it with Big Top. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually paint the raised part of the mold. Now, y'all remember when I told y'all that, in my opinion, if you want something to look good, and one of the things that looks most amateurish to me as an amateur artist is that people don't put enough paint on their products. They'll paint everything maybe one color instead of multiple layers. And in my opinion, when you study a lot of the artists and the, the just art and stuff like that, you're going to notice that there are layers and layers and layers of paint. So the first layer of paint on this mold is going to be the old 57. Now I'm coming in with these other colors. Now these are all just little sample sizes of Rethunk Junk paint. I think it's eucalyptus, ruby red, hazelnut, and I love Rethunk Junk paint too. It's similar to Fusion paint, except for it's locally owned in Georgia. It has a built-in sealer, a built-in primer, and like I said, a built-in top coat, and it is a furniture paint as well. However, I am using it today just like a little craft paint with a little different sample sizes. So what I'm doing is I'm just going around and I'm using, I believe that green is, I said eucalyptus. I'm just putting different layers of paint on the mold. Now, this is when I realized that those were not strawberries and they were actual blackberries. So I decided to I mixed up, I believe, a navy and a red. I think it's called Farmhouse Navy and Ruby Red. And I made up this darker color, purple. But when you think about blackberries, which I actually have several blackberry bushes, when you think about blackberries, they have all different colors depending on the state of how ripe they are. When they first start out, they're the flower, and then they're green, and then they turn red, and then they turn purple, and then they turn that dark black color. So they're all different colors depending on what stage of ripeness they are. So that's why I'm using these different colors. And then they have these little flowers that are white with the yellow centers. If I can find a picture of my blackberries, I may insert them into this video. But this is the first layer of the paint. And I'm going to go back off camera. I went back after I did this and I added a brighter green and some brighter reds because it just didn't look as springy as I wanted it to look. And actually, blackberry leaves are actually very green, just like strawberry leaves. They're very green. So off camera, I'm going to do that. Also, I was thinking this just needs a little something else. Now I'm just adding another layer of paint. And some of the old 57, the turquoise blue color is showing through, which is great because that just adds an extra layer of dimension. I decided that it needed something extra, so I took out these two birds from the Shade and Song stamp set, and I stamped it right there at the top and then one over to the side. The thing is, because of that little ridge, it was a little bit harder to stamp, so the image didn't come out great. But I'm actually going to paint these birds, and you're going to see what I'm going to do. So I was trying to think, what kind of birds are these and what would look good at this time of year? Well, I couldn't really think of like a yellow bird. That didn't really make sense. So I thought that I would do some robins. So I just took out an orangey color and I painted the underside, the belly of the bird, just like a robin. At least in my mind, their bottom part is kind of orange, and then the top part is kind of black and tan looking. So all you do is you're just going to paint your little bird stamp just like this, and then you're going to take the stamp again and you're going to stamp right back on top of that bird, and it's going to look like you painted it and drew it, and it's going to look amazing. But some reason I must have not hit the video to record the last part, so you're not going to see me actually stamp it, but you're going to see the final result here in a second, and it's going to do a little freeze frame. I freeze framed it for you for just a second so that you can see what it looks like. Okay, I froze it for you right there. Okay, doesn't that look cool? I just love how that looks. I've also added the green and the extra red so it's brighter, and then I took some more of that golden ticket and I'm just gently rubbing it, just kind of dry brushing the leaves just to add a little bit of gold. Because if y'all saw my live the other day, I don't know if you did, I did a live on Friday night. It was so much fun. And some of y'all did not like the gold on the bucket, and some of y'all did like the gold. But I'm adding a little bit of extra gold onto the mold just so that it would, you know, kind of all go together. I touched up the paint and then I added a top coat of the big top. If you haven't seen my first video with the IOD products, a new spring release, y'all should check that out. And remember, if you'd like to purchase any of these, you can find them all in the description. I'll get them sent right out to you. In here, I found a few pictures of my sweet kids picking blackberries. We do this every year. It's always so much fun and a great tradition. Y'all have a fabulous week, and thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me. Don't forget to let me know which one of these projects is your favorite.